I just want to make a statement that you can take. You can think I'm serious. You can think I'm joking. The world may never know. But the Big Ten officially, for the next, as long as Jim Harbaugh is head coach, the Big Ten runs through Ann Arbor.
Cheers to episode 99.
We are getting soft. 99.
99.
A McDonald's Coke.
I don't have anything to drink.
Drinking water.
Mess. I had a McDonald's Coke yesterday, though.
Just polished off a spicy chicken sandwich, and I have a McDouble and half my fries to go.
Oh, large?
This reminds me.
Large.
That's exactly what I got yesterday. I mean, to a T.
You got the McDouble as well?
Oh, yes, but no onions.
Want to get
I had
married?
2 chickens yesterday on the way home from the scrimmage.
And they were McDonald's too?
Yes. I hadn't eaten in like 6 hours. On my way home from Napoleon. And I had probably the 2 most disgusting McChickens I've ever eaten in my life.
Oh, that's disappointing. Because my
you know what like a burnt
fantastic.
Marshmallow tastes like in a s'more? You know what a burnt marshmallow tastes like?
Familiar.
Yeah, I like them.
That's what it tasted like. A McChicken tasted like.
Your
like
McChicken tasted like a marshmallow.
It tastes like the burnt marshmallow. Like you bite into it and all you get is like the outer skin of it.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it tasted like.
That's bad texture.
That's gross.
Like, I could taste like the char on it. I mean, I was dark and I was driving. I couldn't really tell what it was.
But you did eat it.
I mean, yeah. I was very hungry.
That may have not
it was
been
still
chicken.
okay.
The fries were fantastic, I can tell you that. They might have been the saltiest McDonald's fries I've ever had, but they were satisfying.
Crazy. When I was younger, my mom used to get the little salt packets in addition and put it on the fries.
Whoa.
I'm lucky I didn't have a stroke as a child.
Hypertension. Wow. Road to 180.
That's when salt was more allowed.
Okay. Well, welcome in the #1 sports podcast in the great state of Michigan. A state that's better than the state of Ohio. Tonight is Wednesday, my dudes. November 30th. It is 7:42 p.m. There's a Big Ten ACC Challenge game on the horizon between Michigan State and Notre Dame. And Conference Championship Week in college football is upon us.
It's a grody one.
It's an underwhelming one, for sure, which will be talked about at some point in the show, probably during the college football playoff segment. What else will be on the show today? The World Cup. The boys in blue, red, white, and blue advanced.
It's called soccer.
Soccer. Michigan, Ohio State recap. Michigan, Purdue preview. College football playoff. Michigan State football versus Penn State recap of that game. I have some questions for you guys about any bowl stuff.
There is nothing.
Some NFL. Okay, spoiler segment done.
Bowl prospects is none.
Detroit Lions. Thanksgiving game feels like it was a year ago, but that happened since you recorded. And then a Jaguars game. That's a big one for the boys coming up this weekend. And then lastly, college hoops. MSU was in the PK tourney. I just call it the PK because I know the numbers have changed around.
PKI.
Yep.
Phil Knight Invitational. There's no number this year.
They killed the PK 80, the PK tourney. And then Michigan had a heartbreaking loss to number 3 Virginia last night that we can talk about for briefly. But before we start, as always, our weekly check-ins. So, fellas, if you notice the show doc, I did a new thing where we put down the last date we recorded, so it helps us when we do our weekly check-ins. Episode 99, we're still evolving, people. We do not rest on our laurels. What have you guys done? Alex, what have you done since that date we last recorded?
Well, we left off on a pregame of Evan and I heading right to the local bar for the biggest bar night of the year.
In the world.
In the United States. Thanksgiving's
really?
Not a worldwide holiday.
Thanksgiving. Canada shits on us for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's not a worldwide holiday, Graham. That's an American thing.
But we run the world, so it's in the world.
Also true.
Is it really bigger than New Year's Eve. Not that I really unpack that phrase everyone says, biggest bar night in America.
It's probably not.
Ah,
I don't know. It's a pretty.
a lot of
big
people
bar
have
night.
like their own like at home.
Everybody goes to the local home bars. Maybe New Year's Eve's more of a party, not a bar thing.
Do clubs count as bars?
Yes.
On New Year's Eve?
If they serve booze, yes.
I gotta think New Year's Eve is right there.
Yeah, it's probably close.
Anywho.
So we did that.
Which awkward encounters did you fellows have at the local watering hole? That's the staple of Thanksgiving night.
You know, Evan and I found ourselves on a pool table most of the time, not playing pool.
You guys got the pool table?
We sat on the pool table.
Don't they cover it up for?
They do. Yep.
Must be a safety thing.
Shout out Cody with a C, Mitten Money Cody. Didn't pay for a single drink. I don't know if he knows that until now, but I did not buy a single beverage on Wednesday, and I had plenty.
Sugar Daddy Cody.
So shout out him. Wasn't awkward, I don't think. There wasn't really anything. I don't know. Compared to years past, I thought it was not as crazy as normal. Not as many people as normal. But Evan can expand on that if you'd like.
It was busy at times. I wouldn't say it was more busy like the entire time, like some years in the past. But I mean, it was very crowded at times.
Definitely still crowded. So, pretty good time. And then I had to leave earlier than shutting it down as we went hunting. Got up at 5 the next morning.
We, as in me and you.
I mentioned that, yes. Went hunting Thursday morning. Saw lots of deer. Evan saw lots more deer. I mean, Evan saw like 50 deer.
Evan, was your call working?
I would say yes. I was started getting some calls back. I was seeing so many deer, and they ran away, and they would come back, ran away, come back. I just pulled out my phone and went to good old fashioned YouTube and just started calling in deer out that way.
You did not do that.
Swear to God.
No way.
Swear to God. I had deer calling back to me after I would just play this out.
No way.
Awesome. Wow. Hand on my grave.
So Evan's an expert deer caller.
Yep.
What does it sound like?
You want me to play one for you?
It sounds like a ribbit.
I was playing the doe one.
No, that is not very good.
That's pretty good.
Okay.
Dude, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's not bad. Not bad.
Really? So it's almost like a cow.
It's like
the big deer hunter
mixed with a cow.
No.
Do it again.
Give it a second.
Oh my God, that's exactly what I did. And they would answer back. They'd say hello.
Yeah.
Come shoot
They'd
me
be like,
with your
yo, what's
big
up?
gun.
So Evan was in a hot spot. I was in a pretty hot spot, but by the end, Evan had seen triple the deer I saw. I still saw quite a few. Evan also saw the monster of his life, and
I didn't see it for that long. You're over exaggerating the situation. I saw it for like a half a second. It was
he just didn't shoot at it.
I never had a shot.
To survive.
Grant, I never had a shot.
Nice guy.
That monster
never had
to
a
live.
shot.
I'll let it walk.
You could have fired just and hoped for the best.
It was behind a big tree, behind a bunch of trees.
I'll shoot through the tree, Evan.
I saw the antlers walk in, and then I saw it run away when I got scared off. I saw it for no more than a combined 3 seconds.
Damn.
So that's what we did Thursday morning. Then went our separate ways. My parents and family left me on Thanksgiving for the golden child, my sister. I'm the silver child.
Frat all weekend.
Yep. So I hope when my parents listen to this, yes, I invited my fraternity over for the whole weekend. Just Thursday through Sunday, just nonstop booze fest. No, this is not true. So I went to my aunt and uncle's for Thanksgiving. Good time, good food. Better food than I'm used to on Thanksgiving. Subtle chop.
Shout out Lou.
Pretty obvious chop.
Lou made the turkey in a infrared fryer.
Sauna.
I don't know. It was fantastic. Good meal all around. And then Friday I had to go to work. Unfortunate.
Did you have to, or I was wondering that.
Yeah,
did you have to go in, or was that
to.
like I'm going to go in to get pity from
Trust
people
me,
when I tell them I worked on Friday?
I didn't want to go in for pity. I went in because I had to. Somebody had to be there. I didn't want other people to have to do it, especially people that just started like 2 weeks ago. It'd be kind of mean to make them go in.
Well, that's fraternal hazing.
Yeah. So came back Friday afternoon, met up with Evan and other people and watched I saw the second half of the soccer game. They all saw the full game. Very not exciting, 0-0 tie. Grant was sleeping.
Also electric because it was the best team in the world.
Movies Friday night. Saw The Glass Onion in Ann Arbor. Again, Evan was there. I saw a lot of Evan this last week.
What's our guy's name?
Daniel Craig?
No.
Edward Norton?
No, guys. We talked about him a couple episodes ago.
Is it an actor?
He's a billionaire who owns the movie.
Oh, Chad. No, not Chad. The guy that owns Imagine.
Evan.
Oh, Paul Glantz.
Paul Glantz. We did not go to Imagine, though.
No, yeah, we went to.
We're at a Cinemark.
Yeah, it was below average.
That sounds like
listen.
That sounds like value brand.
We get a
do
free
have a free
movie.
movie. Holy crap, Alex, I forgot about that.
We got a free movie because they thought the theater was dirty. Didn't notice, honestly.
Oh my God,
gave us
Alex,
a free
you
pass.
need to elaborate on this. I'm going to step in here. Okay, first, we need to do our movie review, our rundown, just of the theater. I don't even care about the movie. People need to go time to go watch it. Okay,
It's a good
first.
movie.
Cinemark. CEO.
Imagine's blowing this movie theater like it shouldn't even be running anymore because how well Imagine is. Okay, they do the same thing with the popcorn.
This movie theater wasn't bad at all.
Hey, you watch
it was
your mouth.
not as good, Alex.
The founder of Cinemark is Leroy Mitchell.
Well, Leroy needs to get his shit together.
I'm going to send you what he looks like.
He's probably an avid listener of this show.
First, popcorn was not very good.
It was okay.
It was overly.
You're just nitpicking.
No, it was not that. The popcorn was not that good. At least my bucket
seasoning.
was not that good. Okay.
Okay.
No free seasonings, Alex.
Nope. That is a gripe.
No free seasonings?
No free seasonings. Nope.
Leroy Mitchell is cheap as hell.
You bet your ass I bought one.
I sent you guys a picture if you're interested. He's a funny looking cat.
Oh, wow. Looks like... Oh, never mind.
Okay, next. The pop machines are still from like 1970s. The options stunk. Imagine has like the Coke 360s, whatever they're called, where you have just basically whatever
Listen,
you want.
Imagine is the gold standard. So
It
you're
is.
just going to make
The
every other
lemonade
like
wasn't
that.
even working.
I did get bottled Powerade because of that.
I had to get
Ew.
bottled vitamin water, and I drank through it like in the first
Oh my
20 minutes of
God.
the movie. I'm sitting there just dry mouth eating my popcorn.
You guys went to the theaters and got bottled Powerade and bottled
They didn't have
vitamin
anything
water.
else.
What didn't really want
I
pop
don't drink
and
pop
lemonade
right, so
wasn't
I'm not
working.
going back there. Okay, one compliment on them. A couple compliments. They did have butter dispensers out for just you can butter yourself. Imagine does not have that. 2, the seats comfortable did not recline as far back as Imagine. However, they had a nice little swivel tray, like a
the
cup
tray
holder
was
and swivel
fantastic.
tray,
I
and you could
loved
just
the
put it
tray.
out in front of you or move it.
Yeah, that was elite level
The smallest
stuff.
little detail, but it's just like now I don't have to like hold my M&Ms
was-
in my pockets.
Very thankful for the trays. Also, the theater was ginormous. It was very big.
Oh yeah, it was like 4 stories, and there was somebody in our group, Connor, that takes everything very seriously. He's an awkward guy, but I guess you put him out in public, he can't be awkward, and so we were making everything awkward for him.
Just yelling
Hilarious.
to each other in front of
Hilarious.
everybody before the movie started.
Shout out Jason. Jason's acting like a 5-year-old. Just come on, guys, let's go see the movie. It's this way. Oh my god, hilarious.
He got very uncomfortable.
Stop it, guys. You're
Okay,
Off
so
the
when we-
record,
Okay, but Alex is elaborate. We got free vouchers for a free movie ticket, and like Alex said, no idea that this theater was dirty.
it looked
no
clean.
idea. I thought it was clean.
She's like, we're so
down.
sorry, it's dirty. And
you're walking out, and this lady's like sticking them in your face, like, take one, we apologize. And we all grabbed one, turned around, like, didn't even notice.
So someone complained. Shout out that Karen. That
whoever it was.
Got us a free movie. So that's what I did Friday night, the movies. Saturday I spent with both of you. Watched the game at my frat party. It was fun. Had a good time.
If Garrett and Carrot are listening, Carrie are listening, I love what you guys have done with the place. It does.
Really? Mom and Dad, if you are listening, everyone complimented your new living room setup. So
because I had not seen it since 2 years ago, Faster Horses. Like not this recent one, but the one before that when it was under construction. And I could only envision what the plan was. But it is kind of laughable and a funny bit that you guys have a penis microwave now. That is one funny quirk of the house.
Yeah, a lot of hate on the microwave below the waist.
Not hate, just it's a funny bit.
I think it's awesome.
I think it's nice.
It was Stephen A. or Skip that had one in one of their videos, and they got it was just a funny bit. So I was like, oh, you guys got Skip Bayless type microwave, but the couch, the open floor plan, the island, it's good stuff. And the first ever water dispenser inside of a fridge I've ever seen in my life. I haven't thought about that enough. That's actually kind of wild.
Keeps it cold.
Didn't even know it was in there.
Evan's a tap guy.
I'm a tap guy.
So, yep, did that Saturday. Sunday, saw my parents. Monday, normal Tuesday. Here we are.
Evan, any additions?
Any addition? I worked
outside the movie.
I worked Wednesday and Friday mornings. Got very little sleep over my main work job off. I was like, yeah, you can catch up on sleep over Thanksgiving. Wrong.
Retweet.
You're going to average 4 to 5 hours of sleep because you're with your friends nonstop. Or you think you have to go to work. Or you voluntarily go hunting. You regret when you sit down in it. Oh, backtrack. Backtrack to the hunting thing. Okay. I show up right on time. Alex is already ready.
What time?
Itching to go. 6 o'clock.
Okay.
I show up exactly on time. Alex tells me where I'm going to go sit. Not a problem. I'll go do that.
Right.
Okay. Alex gives me the directions of like a third grader just got told it.
I thought
you're going to walk. You're going to wait until you get to the field, and you're going to turn left, and your stand's going to be like the second tree in.
Not the worst description.
Not the worst, but if you actually knew where the stand was, you would understand it's a little more complicated than that. Or you give me just one little detail, don't have a complaint. Okay, so I get to this walnut field. I'm like, okay, Alex said, get to the field, turn left, it's like the second tree in.
I don't remember the second tree saying that.
You told me it was like the second tree in. So I'm looking around, flashlight up in the trees. I don't see shit. I'm walking this thing for like 30 minutes. I'm now getting all sweaty because I have so many layers on. I eventually tell Alex, dude, I can't find this. I can't find it. I get back. Lou starts helping us out in the text message. It is like 40 to 50 yards like off the trail. Like not the second tree in.
I didn't realize you just kept walking into the middle of the field.
And it's not even on the border of the field. Like the field is like 20 yards.
It's been a while since I've been back there.
Clearly.
And like if Alex just gave me one little hint, it was like, hey man, there's going to be a big old tree, the biggest tree out of this field to your left. Go directly behind that. And the tree said, that's all he had to tell me. As soon as Lou said, find the, in quotes, big tree, did that, turn around, found it in 30 seconds.
Well, that's what he's for.
No.
Find the big tree.
And you saw lots of deer. It didn't deter from anything.
I do have one regret. Okay. I texted a lot. Just like that. I do have one regret. I had I think it was a broken antler or just a disformed antler. Buck walk in front of me. And if I was waiting for him to clear a tree and then I was going to shoot him. He never cleared the tree, started walking due away from me. Okay.
Could have shot it in the ass.
I could have shot it in the ass, or I could have shot it like not where you're supposed to shoot it and like ruin half
in the
deer.
face.
No, I would have shot it in like the side ass, like the back hip.
Not
gonna do
a lot of meat.
Texted a bunch of people. Had like at one point, I think I had like 30 deer around me. At one point, I was sitting there. Okay, these deer like left, and I'm sitting there like, damn, I missed my opportunity to shoot a buck. Missed it. Bye bye, gone.
Thanks,
Alex is texting me saying, I just had a bunch of deer pass me, dude. They're on your way. I'm like, okay, whatever. 20 minutes go by, nothing. And then Lou sends a text message out. Always hot action between 8:30 and 9:30. Stay put. Stay committed. I'm like, okay.
This is at like 8:27.
No joke. At like 8:38, 8:37. There's four does walk from my right. I'm sitting there. I'm staring at them, and one of them starts looking out in the field, and there is a swarm of like 15 to 20 just walking my way. I'm like,
it's so insane.
15 or 20 just walk, and they are coming out the woodworks. And that's when I see the monster antlers. I'm looking and watching them, and I just see off in the distance, probably like 80 to 90 yards away from me. And there's some walnut trees in front of me. There's the big old massive trees in front of me. Okay, and there's some pine trees in the back. I saw for maybe a half a second. So,
but you did see 30 deer at once, just all surrounding you.
I was like, dude, what am I going to? I should have shot one of them.
Yeah, you could have taken your pick, just found the biggest one.
Yeah, I did. I saw 4 bucks. Saw the massive one. I saw a little 4-point. I saw a 2-point and only had an antler on one side. So it's either they're all breaking off,
kind of fight,
or there's some
like the one from open season.
Why didn't you fire your weapon?
I did not fire.
He was
weapon.
afraid.
I should have. I did not fire it.
You just got overwhelmed by 2.
Down there, there's antler requirements, so
no,
it has to be at least 3 on one side.
No, there isn't. Not in Tecumseh. Up north, yes, 3 on one side.
It's like
down,
when you
down, no, none.
It's like they did a psychological study once at a grocery store where they had like 3 jams to choose from in a display, and like people made decisions easy, but then when they put 30 different jams, they got overwhelmed and couldn't pick. That happened to you. You would have been better with just like 2 deer in front of you instead. There was
what Evan should have done is shot the first buck that came in front of him.
And this deer walked out like at like first light. I would have been sitting in my stand no later than like 45 minutes after if I shot the first one. I've been sit down, wait, boom, got it, go back to have Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was good. My parents hosted.
Did the dog do any counter surfing?
No. The dog was very well mannered.
Your dog seems well behaved.
It likes to bite. That's the only downfall.
Too young
it's
to
the
really
only
get into trouble
downfall.
yet.
It loves to bite. But if it like goes and like gets something, it doesn't like tear it up. It just like chews on it. But it doesn't like get holes in it. It doesn't like try to rip it up.
Not yet, Evan. She's young.
She's teething.
We train it, Alex.
She's still gonna be a menace at some point.
No, she's very well trained.
Even a very well trained Abby ate my video game once.
The terrible twos. The terrible twos.
It's so well trained, Alex. We don't even let it sleep in the kennel at night. It just sleeps in one of the beds with us. No accidents.
Evan, are you a big it guy when it comes to dogs? I noticed you just refer to it as
you're afraid of no pronouns for dogs.
It's a girl.
I said she. Nash, talk about a menace these days.
You didn't even see him.
She.
You told me he was a menace.
Force of habit.
He just barks a lot.
So
can't wait for the terrible twos for Ruby.
Terrible twos. So Friday, mocks, soccer, movies. Already touched on that. Saturday, practice and early in the morning. Alex's partied.
Fraternal frat party.
I never cheered for Ohio State once.
Minus the fist, the chest bump with Wilkins.
Minus nonstop shouting OH. That backfired. And then Sunday, I ref basketball all day long. So
women's.
There was a lot of girls' games. I had one boys' game. And I did 9 or 10 games.
I'm sure all those games were extremely high level.
Very high level. Let me tell you, Alex. Let me tell you.
I'm sure the
my
parents
first
weren't
game
yelling.
of the day. First game of the day. I think it was 45-6 or something like that.
Right.
It's a good one.
Yep.
Flag football game.
That was mine. That was my week in recap. Basketball season's getting underway. First game in 5 days.
Wow. Ball is life.
Ball is life.
This man coaches it all.
December 4th, game 1.
We're going to have to find Evans J. Johnson comparison to hold him to a standard for basketball. We haven't found it yet, but we'll find it.
Not as direct of an impact. It's going to be hard to measure.
You find a measure. Somebody, if a fan wants to find a measure of how we have to compare, I'm more than open. I will reach those goals.
40% 3-point shooting for the year.
Oh, Jesus, Alex, that's unrealistic.
Well, you said.
NBA players can't even do that.
Fine, 30.
50% from the free throw line as a team.
That's disgusting. It better be at least
Alex,
60.
We are talking about
manageable
like
goals.
15 to 16-year-olds.
Yes, we played basketball, Evan, at the age of 15 to 16, and we could make some free throws.
But we were good.
As a team, though, Alex, you think about the JV team. Do you think we could have
games
made?
did we win in JV? I feel like we won a decent amount.
Go look it up.
We can't look up our JV results. It's like 20
you gotta
years
have
ago.
something. You gotta have some.
I think I have our. I don't. But someone probably has our freshman year basketball stats.
You didn't keep all the
From Gibson
stats in the manila folder from the award banquet?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. The freshman stats. That was
Yeah,
freshman
the
year
JV
only.
stats.
Entrop's got it hanged up on his wall.
When he got a technical for slamming the ball in his first minutes of action in the
He
season.
didn't play JV. That was freshman
That's true.
year.
That was freshman year. Grant didn't play JV either.
Correct. So I don't know.
cut.
Got cut. God, it sucked. Just like Michael Jordan.
Grant,
My
what'd you do,
weekend.
man?
So I worked a little bit. Also, stunning lack of sleep heading into
Did you just work for pity?
Friday.
For like people
No.
to pity you?
No.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to check because that's what I was
Appreciate you.
accused of.
Appreciate you checking. Got back on Friday. Didn't do much Friday. Really laid around. Slept. Caught back up on sleep because I knew I had a massive day ahead of me on Saturday. Saturday. Brought food and drinks over. That's what I did Friday. We went to the grocery store as well to get that stuff. Oh, I tried to make like chicken jalapeno soup. That's a family recipe
Dirty
from my
dishwater.
cousins. I made it too salty. If you're gonna make that soup for all those people out there, don't use the full thing of roasted chicken bouillon paste. I just needed like half of it. It just made it too salty. So then I had to unsalt the soup by adding water, and also if you add white vinegar or lemon juice, it takes saltiness. Speaking of salt, it takes the saltiness out of a thing without messing up the taste, which is true. But then I moved it a smaller portion because I had two pans going, like a new version and the old salty version.
You
and
just
I
have a
dumped-
bad track record of making food.
No, that's not true.
It's like several weeks in a row of like something poorly going in the kitchen for you.
It's a what have you done for me lately league, so I understand there's going to be some criticism from the naysayers
The
out there.
cookies. Do we remember the cookies?
It's just the cookies in this. That's all it is.
That's 2 weeks in a row.
Then I didn't accidentally, I just wasn't thinking clearly because I, again, sleep deprived. I put the full serving of jalapenos into the half serving I had created. That was now the good part. So it was just way too many jalapenos, diced jalapenos in soup. The taste was fine. That's what I was told. It was just way too spicy and too much jalapenos. So I did that. Went to Alex's on Saturday. That was a pretty fun day overall. Felt like it kind of flew by in a way, but also was long. I went home, was pretty tired, went to sleep. Sunday, caught up with some family, aunt and uncle at the Common Grill in Chelsea. Parents had a gift certificate they have a brunch they do on the weekends, so we went for that. Got the egg scramble. It was pretty underwhelming. My sister warned me because they had gone there previously for her birthday, and she had gotten that and said, it's not very good. I did not heed her warning. I had it because I'm stubborn. It wasn't that good. But we also had 2 orders of waffles for the table, which were pretty phenomenal. My sister was freaking out about the waffles. She said they're the best waffles ever. So maybe we need to get Evan there at some point. Maybe Common Grill will sponsor this and we can film a video of him going to try allegedly the best waffle in the entire world. And it's right there in Chelsea, Michigan, waiting to be tasted.
The Waffle House. It's at Waffle
And
House.
then
It's at Waffle House. That's wrong. It always will be Waffle House.
Have a blind taste test cook-off. And then did a little Christmas shopping on Monday before I flew back to Minnesota on Tuesday. So knocked some of that out.
Gross.
And then that's it. So now, sports talk for all you people out there that want to get into some sports talk. The World Cup, pretty cool for America to make it to the round of 16. There was a doubt.
We advanced to the knockout stage 3 times in a row.
Yeah, it almost I know it's cool achievement.
Just like automatic for us at this point.
Alice, we didn't qualify for the World Cup once, so.
But when we do make the knockout round.
COVID year, though. COVID year.
Yeah, COVID. We don't count sports that season.
Yes, we do.
I know it was 2018, but I'm not counting.
Because sports still happened.
Actually, this is the COVID World Cup. This was supposed to be played in 2020, wasn't it?
No, I think it was. I think it was always 2022.
No, definitely wasn't.
Was supposed to happen
the World
this
Cup's
year.
Played in the summer.
They pushed it back because Qatar's 200 degrees in the summer.
Well, it's just poor logistics.
Do you guys know 1,000 people died building the World Cup stadium?
Yeah, it's over 500, over 100 workers' deaths.
It's kind of crazy to think about when you watch the games. I try not to think about it, but I can't get it out of my head.
Wait, what happened?
There's been over 500 worker deaths building the World Cup over
stadiums because they use migrant slave workers in Qatar to build these things, and they overworked them in the heat, and they all died.
Now I'm going to think about that when I'm watching the games.
Well, join the suffering club because it really kind of scars the whole game. It's a bunch of dead bodies are just in and around the stadium, pretty much.
Just
confirmed.
Nonstop.
This World Cup is on schedule.
Yeah,
I don't know why I thought that.
The Olympics.
The Olympics.
Oh, you dirty dog.
Listener question about the World Cup. With the win over Iran, is there any hope of the U.S. men's national team proving to the rest of the world, either now or in the coming years, that it is indeed called soccer, not football?
Yes.
It's kind of a funny question with a little bit of truth behind it. Is what do we need from this generation to put our stamp on this sport?
To the serious part, soccer is becoming much more popular in the United States, which only is going to mean that we're going to get better because we have the best athletes in the world already. They just don't play soccer.
They never will.
Some of them might start. We're already we're the youngest national team. So they're only going to get better. Soccer, not football thing, that's never going to happen.
We need a Erling Haaland body type.
Well, grant that guy doesn't exist other than in folklore.
Well, he does.
Yeah, it's crazy.
To watch him.
And he doesn't even get to play in the World Cup.
But we have guys like that in America. They just play tight end in the NFL.
That's what I mean. We have the best athletes in the world.
And we got to get an Erling Haaland type figure to play soccer and fall in love with it.
Well, it would start with having a better pro U.S. league.
I think we need to have a very famous soccer movie a la Remember the Titans or Friday Night Lights that glorifies soccer dudes getting chicks in high school and being cool to really turn our country around. We need to make kids growing up think that soccer players get all the girls.
Yeah, but
and then we'll have a chance.
That's just not going to happen.
Well, I mean, we could make the movie ourselves.
We could test our skills in the film industry,
or we could just the naive people listening to the show tell them that soccer players get all the chicks in high school.
They do. I've seen it.
Confirmed. That's really it for the World Cup.
Evan, nothing.
Evan's got some talking going on in his background, so you can tell he's just rattled. Just in time for the Michigan-Ohio State segment, too.
Whoa, you're not even going to make a prediction on the U.S. game on Saturday?
Oh, you want to make a prediction for the Netherlands?
Yeah, the actual best football game of Saturday is football.
Yeah, it just seems like an uphill battle for Netherlands. I think United States wins 2-0.
Wow. I'll go 1-0 Netherlands. We suck at scoring goals.
But we don't give up any.
Yeah, we'll give up one, though.
We did score 2 last game. That way a goal. I mean, that was butter. Just absurd refs.
Butt is what that was. Evan, still chatter behind you, or
power through it?
That's okay. Well, give your prediction whenever you're back.
I think Netherlands are going to win 1-0.
Oh wow, same as me.
Copycat, Spider-Man meme.
I just don't think there were so many opportunities that we could have just blown that game.
The last 9 minutes of stoppage time was brutal.
So many opportunities to extend that lead. That's the
true. We had our one opportunity, then we just played passive in the second half, which I understand why you're trying to just hold on to
playing
a lead.
With a lead is hard.
It is
hardest thing to do in sports.
Yeah,
especially
the Michigan
and
Wolverines against the Ohio State.
God, do we have to have this segment? Do we have to?
Oh yeah, Alex, we're just gonna overlook the biggest game, the most Big Ten defining game in the history of the season. All right, yeah. What are your thoughts on that? I'm curious your guys' thoughts.
One statement.
Now that we're sobered up and we're not drunk on Saturday at a frat party.
Well, I was sober. Speak for yourself.
What are our thoughts on the game, Alex?
I just want to make a statement that you can take. You can think I'm serious. You can think I'm joking. The world may never know. But the Big Ten officially for the next. As long as Jim Harbaugh is head coach, the Big Ten runs through Ann Arbor. Going forward.
Is Alex joking or serious? I think you're pretty serious, but I would caveat it where, like, if Urban Meyer decided to become the coach of Ohio State tomorrow, back runs through Urban Meyer.
Correct, but that's not happening. Now, if Mike Vrabel comes to Ohio State, I will change my tone.
What a move that would be. Oh, my God.
There's an athletic article out there about it.
I don't disagree with you. I think, I guess it's until someone proves it. I think this win was stunning, to be quite honest. I definitely was not a Michigan fan going into the game that was like, oh, I expect to beat Ohio State now. Like, this is just an expectation. I was going to pick them to win because unlike last year, like, I wasn't as beat down as I've been in years past where, like, yeah, I'll do the thing where I pick my team to win by 1 point because why not? And I was wrong. So hand up, I was wrong. I said if Corum doesn't play, they have 0 chance. I said that multiple times last week. He didn't play. I mean, he carried the ball twice for less than 10 yards. So I don't know. I was still processing in a way what I actually watched on Saturday, and the way it happened was stunning. Before I get into like my list of points that I didn't want to forget, Evan, any initial thoughts you had on the Michigan Ohio State game and what it means for the future of our conference?
He hates to say it. It's gonna hurt him to say it, or he still is talking in the background. One or the other.
State of the conference. I mean,
we can't act like this wasn't earth-shattering, Evan.
I don't think it was earth-shattering.
It was debilitating.
My earth was shattered.
It was debilitating for my earth.
I mean, it's just... I was shocked, don't get me wrong. I still don't think that we need to jump ahead and say that the entire Big Ten now involves around Michigan just because they won 2 football games.
2 Big Ten titles in a row. Most likely.
The next game hasn't been played yet.
Alex, no jinxes. Just can't jinxes don't exist.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that no one else has done other than Ohio State.
So you have my point.
In our life, at least. Maybe in the 90s or something.
I was shocked. I mean, she went out there just physically and mentally owned them from the second half of the second quarter on. Ohio State got punched in the mouth and didn't know how to respond. And 2 years in a row, they didn't know how to respond to the same exact team, the same exact situation.
You can have all that 5-star talent, but if you don't have tough dudes, still hard to win.
Yeah,
I think they have tough dudes. I just think it's
just surprising to see him get bullied.
It's a little baffling. I just don't
bullied.
Is it
dudes up front?
Is it scheme? And then also I kept wondering, like, the whole recruiting. where, because I'm speaking from a Michigan fan's perspective, there was a kind of lull there in Harbaugh's tenure when signing with the Stars happened, and he kind of went a national approach to like, we'll take California kids, we'll like prioritize that instead of still building your base through the Midwest. I don't know if I'm over like thinking that, like, did that happen to Ohio State a little, where they're like neglecting Ohio in a way and neglecting maybe some 3-stars that understand the game more, and they're bringing in. You don't think that factors in at all?
Well, because you guys still go national approach. I mean, your main players are all not from the Midwest. Your big stars. Sure, you have some.
The 2 offensive stars in the game are both out of the Midwest.
Yeah, Donovan Edwards is a freak talent that just happened to be from Michigan. Your quarterback is from the other side of the country. Well, kind of. He played in
Illinois.
Florida. He's from Illinois.
He's from Illinois.
Whatever. Quorum's from New Jersey or Kansas or some random place. It's not like you have a bunch of dudes from Michigan and Ohio, then that's why you won this game. Like, I don't think that has anything to do with it.
I don't know.
I think gritty guys, lower ranked guys. You don't have me guys. I'm sure a lot of 5-stars care a lot about themselves. It's a problem I've never experienced with my team, so I really don't know.
I'm still kind of at a loss for words, even though I wrote down some things that I can just run through to get myself on track. But like, as a Michigan fan, I said last year was like the best win I had seen. This surpasses that. If anyone's wondering that, like going into their house and doing it again to prove it wasn't a fluke, because any blind squirrel can find a nut any now and then. And I think that's what everyone kind of told themselves about last year. It was like, all right, Michigan was due. You can't lose that many years in a row. Keep it going. You had NFL talent on defense. 2 would have been first-round picks as edge rushers. And the schedule, like you listened all year, the schedule, so bad. You lose both coordinators. You have a QB battle. Harbaugh almost went to the Vikings. Your quarterback can't hit the deep ball. And you go in without your Heisman candidate and you win pretty convincingly from that like third quarter into the fourth quarter on. And not to like get lost. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's a blowout. Like it towards the end, yes, like at the end of the day, you weren't sweating in like the final minutes. But Ohio State was winning at the half. It felt exactly like Michigan versus Penn State earlier in the year, where the roles were reversed, where we were Penn State, Ohio State was Michigan. All the stats were in their favor. We just had 2 fluke plays, or 2 plays that the big plays they connected on, and then it would turn in the second half, and Ohio State would run away with it. And they just didn't. Their offense sputtered, and Michigan's defense rose up and bent but didn't break. And also Ohio State just also made uncharacteristic, undisciplined plays. They had both of the unsportsmanlike conduct penalties in the game, and one really destroyed a drive. They had a 1st and 35 at one point in the second half, and they also Cody with the C shared that TikTok that they completely messed up a fake punt play
that would have worked.
That would have worked and would have been a difference maker. I mean, you look at this game, there's so many different plays that if it happens, if Cade Stover catches that ball and Sanders still is not able to knock it out, do things change? But at the end of the day, like, the shocking thing with this whole $2 million defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles, from the Big 12, when they had to get a stop, they just couldn't. And then Michigan had hit 2 run plays that they did against Penn State. So, I don't know. It's crazy. No Corum, no Mike Morris, who's your best defensive player. Donovan Edwards had one hand, as friend of the podcast Cam kept saying. He can only carry it in one arm. He's carrying it in the wrong hand on some run plays. That's all he can do because the others cast it up. They found a way to win. They hit the deep balls, as I said. A funny part of the game to me was like we did spend the whole year, remember, saying like Michigan's got to figure out their red zone scoring offense. They only had to do it a single time in this game because if you just hit huge chunk plays for touchdowns, you don't even have to worry about red zone scoring. So it was a wild game in the way they won, and feels really good. I don't know. I think you're not going to get as giddy as of me, like, oh my God, we're sweet. That happened in the moment, and it's happened since the days have gone by. But like Wednesday, as I sit here now, it's just more of just like processing still, like what happened. It's crazy.
Is it national championship or bust? Where are we at with that?
It's get to the national championship game
Or bust.
Or
bust of season.
A bust. Well, it's not going to be like a bust of a season. It's just going to be really disappointing. Like you're not playing with house money yet.
Like you're not going to dwell in. You're not going to be like, yeah, that was such an awesome year. We beat Ohio State. Blah blah. You're like, oh no, that we lost in the playoff.
As JJ McCarthy said, you left a lot of meat on the bone. There's more meat to eat off the bone. Is how I would feel. Like, oh, we left a lot out there. Like Purdue obviously have to go win that football game. And at this point right now, I don't think they have to win that game to get into the playoff. I think they could lose and still get in. It's just going to mess with your seeding, and you'll probably have to face Georgia in the first game, which I do not want to do.
Agreed.
I'd like to play TCU tomorrow if I could sign up for it and win a football game against them, and then play Georgia and see what happens. Now, look, I'm a realist. I do think Georgia's phenomenal. I wouldn't pick Michigan to win that game by any means. But a deep little part of me, deep down, thinks Michigan could beat the Georgia Bulldogs and be national champions this year.
That might be the worst day of Evan's life if that happened.
I mean, I really think like it's one football game. If they can get lucky, if they can hit the big plays or something, I don't know. I have a question for you guys as it relates to bigger pictures. What did you guys feel like about CJ Stroud coming out of this game, and also how it relates to us as Lions fans when having to make a decision potentially on him in like the top 5 pick in the draft? What did you feel about CJ Stroud after this? Because I had some thoughts, both good and bad, about the kid. Now that I've seen him in 2 games against Michigan where they do not win,
I think he has all the tools to be really good. He makes throws that some people physically cannot. And yet still, it does feel like something's missing there. I don't know what. Whether it's competitiveness. He doesn't run. He doesn't seem willing to run. It's weird. So I'm indifferent. I wouldn't be upset if the Lions took a different quarterback.
Will Levis over CJ Stroud.
If they took Will Levis, I would throw up in my mouth.
Anthony Richardson.
I'm talking if we take a quarterback at the Rams pick, it would be him or Bryce Young, I would assume. I'd be cool if they took Bryce Young over him. I would put Bryce Young over him right now. If that answers the question.
He's very
talented. I wouldn't be mad if the Lions took him, though, either.
He had the most talented throw on Saturday. The most talented NFL throw on Saturday. I think he threw it to Harrison on the sideline. It wasn't like a deep shot. It was halfway in there, 15, 20 yards, though. But he put it only where his wide receiver could catch it. Now, he also did miss some wide open throws, but everybody does. To touch on, Grant, your point of Ohio State before I get to my Stroud thing, the egos for Ryan Day and Jim Knowles cost them most of their production on offense and defense. Now, the 3rd and 11, and you had the penalty in the back of the end zone, player's fault. 3rd and whatever it was, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 12 or whatever, when Cornelius broke free, Michigan was not moving the ball at all. At that point.
They were dead
to rights. And the worst thing you could do is give them momentum, and Ohio State handed it to them. McCarthy's mobile enough, saw that the blitz was coming, wasn't shocked, basically just waited a half a second just so Cornelius can get to somewhere close to turn around at, and Cornelius just made a guy miss. If you play just passive and just bend, don't break, Michigan has red zone troubles, so bend, don't break, play your normal whatever. You can send an extra guy, fine, but you don't need to send a zero blitz to leave your corner out on an island. There's your first mistake. Second mistake, you had fantastic run games for most of the game. Yeah, Michigan stopped you here and there, but on average, you were gaining more than you were losing. And the ego got to a side, and you had to throw the ball more for whatever reason.
Just classic coach things.
And the other thing, you touched on a little bit, Alex, Stroud doesn't move much, and I 100% believe that's hurting Ohio State's offense. You look at the past Ohio State offense recently, is you had a mobile quarterback.
He's fast, too. He's not slow.
Fields was mobile enough. JT was mobile. Now you throw in Haskins in there, and you throw in
Cardell.
Gauge. But the talent on that roster was more complete. And the second I look at like Michigan success up front, okay, Michigan this year didn't really have the go-to pass rusher, but last year you had 2 studs, NFL caliber players. Ohio State is missing that bona fide go get me a sack whenever you ask.
Chase Young, Bosa brother guy.
They don't have it. They don't have it on the roster that can win a one-on-one battle. They don't have it.
Definitely helps Michigan's offensive line is the entire all Big Ten team.
To touch on your point, I'm still taking Stroud if he's there for me. I would not be upset. He can still make any NFL throw. He's still young. It's not a $40 million cap hit. I'm willing to take my chance.
It's a big hit.
He is more polished and more ready to win the NFL now than a lot of the quarterbacks you're taking chances on. I would be more happy to strike out and lose on Stroud than striking out and you draft Will Levis or Anthony
Trust me,
Richardson.
I don't want anybody behind Young or Stroud. I wouldn't be cool with that. I'd rather just take a quarterback in the 5th at that point.
So I would still be all right with taking Stroud. Yes, it's a working project. I don't think he's going and start right away, but I think he's more than capable of winning football games in the NFL.
I mean, I agree with a lot of stuff you guys said. I would take Bryce Young after what I saw. I just like Stroud can move his legs, like we've seen that. He can actually run he did against Northwestern. He just doesn't want to. He's so not willing to do it that I don't know how coachable that is to like drill into somebody. Whereas like in the game, like JJ's versus Stroud's mobility, even in like the pocket, was a huge factor in the game on 2 of the second deep ball to Cornelius and the second deep ball to Loveland. JJ stepped up in the pocket. And in a lot of other plays, he took off and ran. And his arm talent's not even close to Stroud's at this point in decision making. But it's just the mobility buys you more. Other things, shout out to an unsung hero that I've heard more and more Michigan players and Jim Harbaugh talk about is Ben Herbert, the strength and conditioning coach. I think Mozzie Smith said he wasn't really considering Michigan in his recruiting, and then they made that hire, and it kind of changed everything for him, which I think we just forget as fans, especially in college, how big the strength and conditioning coach is. And I think like over the last 2 seasons, you've really, like when I watch this Michigan team, they have a different edge to them, a different like mental toughness too, not just physically how they look. But I really think he's done wonders for this program, and it is a guy that you just have to throw a bag at to keep and hang around, because they are, I mean, a big part of the trenches is just they're recruiting good guys, but they're just building them to the absolute maulers by the end of their career. So he's doing a great job. Cornelius Johnson, redemption arc. I mean, we look after the Michigan State game, it was like I don't need to see this kid ever play again. And now to be
which
fair,
was not fair to him.
Not fair to him at all. And to be fair, it wasn't like he was making Marvin Harrison Jr. level plays, but the kid just did what he needed to do. He didn't flinch. He caught a hitch route. He made a guy miss, and he turned on the jets and high-stepped a little bit to evade another tackle from a guy chasing him. And then on the second one, made sure he didn't drop the pass, which is a huge thing in college football. You see people drop stupid passes all the time, catches it, gets it. And that one, he actually, I mean, the safety was lost, but he did run a good route. He set him up for it. He snapped him off, and he made a good play. So shout out to Cornelius Johnson for a full redemption arc and probably the biggest game of his entire life. Sanders still continued to be phenomenal. Pass breakup of the year. In my mind, that chased him all the way down the field. He's tiny compared to Cade Stover. Gets his fingertips on the football, knocks that out to keep it a bigger deficit for Ohio State. Another thing we go back to, too, is we talked about this with Michigan State a lot, and it goes into Evan's point about egos, is Ohio State, again, just abandoning the run when they were dominating running football as well. And I know like once you get behind towards the end, it's going to skew the numbers, but Trainum, who was like deep on their depth chart. So both schools had a little weird running back situation going on, but Trainum was 14 for 83. Mayan Williams was 8 for 34. They had guys moving moving the first down chains in the first half, running the football. They only ran 29 times and they threw 48 times. So they just threw so much. And I was looking back at the play-by-play of when they really abandoned it. And it was in the second half. They were down. Once they got down 11, they just completely like gave up on the run. They had a possession where they went 4 and out, 3 and out, and they would just pass. And I know like a lot of people would be like, oh, you're down 11, you got to start throwing. But I think that's sometimes where Michigan's stubbornness and Jim Harbaugh, like they just stick to what they want to do. And yes, it's going to chew a little bit more clock than if you're throwing nonstop and it's working. But if you have a ground game that's working, it does wonders for you to get third and manageables and keep moving the chains. They just abandoned it. And the play calling was weird, guys. Like it was like the little bubble screens they kept running, they ran them so much in the beginning of the game and they worked. And then they just was like, it's going to keep working. And then Michigan just adjusted and played them tougher. And they never ran like a fake bubble screen. I thought that was coming at some point in the game. They just did a lot of weird things. And also, I didn't realize Jim Knowles looked like Don Brown. And that was like, oh, I kind of feel good. Like, I don't know what his thought was. He had some crazy defensive alignments. Evan's point about bringing pressure and cover 0 all game, which isn't the dumbest thing, I guess, against like a Michigan team, but it ended up being dumb. The crazier thing was like there'd be some run plays where he had a guy, not to get too in the weeds, but no one, like he had a one tech and then a guy lined up outside our edge and then overloaded one side, and Michigan would just run plays to that hole, and then they would just seal it off and go to the linebackers, and they would get 10 yards of pop with Donovan Edwards. And I just like, I don't understand what on film is telling you that that's going to work against this Michigan front that just wants to run it down your throat and has one of the best like left side of the offensive lines in the country. I don't really know what they're doing. But with that being said, like shout out to the Michigan offensive line. They're just phenomenal. In my opinion, from what I've seen in college football, just an elite offensive line, probably the best in the country. And then the overwhelming point that Alex started with is like, in my mind, it is somewhat of a reset in the Big Ten Conference right now. And until someone knocks them off, the Big Ten does run through Ann Arbor. And right now, Harbaugh is running the best program in the Big Ten. They don't have the overall best accumulation of recruiting talent, but they are the best program playing together. They're going to have to do everything they can to keep the coaches together in the offseason. It's crazy. We went from the COVID season where we're just people wanted them gone, and rightfully so, to 24-2 in the last 2 seasons. So shout out to you guys. Michigan State, one of those wins, and Georgia. Those are the only 2 teams that have beat this team in the last 2 seasons of football with a couple more games to play here. I think if they win this game, it'll be the first 13-0 start in Michigan football history. It's a little skewed stat because like that's just not how seasons used to work back in the day. But it's impressive to make history in a program that's been around that long. So it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Happy for my friends.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Also wild, like not to go too long about Ohio State's doomsday situation, but what would you guys be feeling if you were like them with Ryan Day? Like, there's a good chunk of their fan base. We've said on the show
several thousand times that we would be totally cool if our program was 12-1 or 11-1 every single year, and just lost like a big game once a year. It's way better than the alternative.
Just so micromanaged because your 2 losses. Well, if he has 3 losses and 2 of them are in like the playoffs, and then 2 of them are your rival. And I get it. It's like the whole Michigan Ohio State thing. You can't lose your rival. But nowadays, you see college football recently, the cycle of coaches you have through. Now, Ohio State won't cycle through its coaches as much because of the program. But it'd be idiotic to fire Ryan Day to get somebody else. Idiotic.
Mike Vrabel?
He is a winner, and he just doesn't win the 2 biggest games.
Was he born on third base, Evan?
No, he worked his way there. He forced Urban Meyer to retirement because otherwise, if Urban Meyer stayed any longer, Ryan Day was going to take over a different program.
Just something to think about.
He's been there long enough that most of these guys are his own kids.
I mean,
he's brought in the most talented wide receivers core in college history. That doesn't mean anything because he lost the football game, but still, he's going to have
take credit
4.
away from.
He's going to have 4.
Brian Hartline for head coach.
Brian Hartline brought in those wideouts.
Brian Hartline.
Deion's deciding Saturday morning.
Brian Hartline's interviewing with Cincinnati right now.
Deion Sanders was offered the job. Cincinnati, USF,
Hartline's,
and Georgia Tech. Deion Sanders will be coaching one of them by Saturday.
Brian Hartline's speech at their pep rally before the game is so funny to look back on after. I was just haterade tears of laughter, like them saying they talked all they did. He was like, they attacked our head coach. They attacked our quarterback for 365 days, and we didn't respond. We worked in the dark, and today is the day it comes to light, and they just got smacked by 22 points again. Oh my God, it's so funny how like the revenge, like Batman angle they took to this whole year. And they went out and they just absolutely got punked by a team that didn't even have their Heisman candidate playing. It's actually hilarious. I think Ryan Day's a really good football coach. I think there's an ounce of truth to the situation of like he has to do some soul searching now because he was handed like a juggernaut in college football, and he just has messed it up with not to sugarcoat. He messed it up. If they lose again to Michigan and they're like 11-1, I don't know, man. I'm not.
He's fired. I mean, that's just the nature of sports these days. No one has patience.
It's so crazy, and I can't wait for the next one. I can't wait for the next one. My favorite tweet may have been from Portnoy saying, like, this feeling of being Ohio State is addicting. I just want to play him again. And I want to win now that I'm on the other side of it. But I'm still going to try to remain humble in my roots because I realize how terrible it was the wait to get to this point. The wait to get to this point was excruciating. That's why I'm not going to rub it in too much. I'm just going to be grateful that this program has got to where it needed to get to. With that being said, Michigan minus 16.5, Purdue over under 51.5. We answered that listener question there in our Ohio State stuff, so we don't have to hit that right now. First and foremost, the biggest storyline that I think was under the radar because we were so focused on Saturday is that Aiden O'Connell's older brother passed away for them, and he's been, I don't know if he's back at practice yet, but it's really sad. So thoughts and prayers to the O'Connell family. This Purdue team's going to be emotionally revved up. They're going to play for their quarterback. That's a crazy situation. The Boilermakers make me a little nervous. I don't know if I should be. They
should be. You should feel nervous.
You should be more nervous than you were last year against Iowa.
Purdue against top 5 teams is danger, and they can score.
They're not at home. It's not Ross-Ade Stadium.
But they can score.
Alex, I can't. The big more so than like Purdue's talent. I actually do think if he's able to like focus and it's not too big of a distraction, like
I've scored more than Iowa in the last 5 years, Alex.
Some things are bigger than sports, and if they are emotionally revved up to have their quarterback's back as he goes through a tough time, this team could come out with a fire that you just can't coach that kind of passion for your leader. It scares me a little bit. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball worth a lick, and as long as we don't give up Ohio State like plays, like if we just bend and maybe they get some field goals early, I think Michigan will be fine because I think the trenches are going to be a joke. I think we're just going to man this team around. Now we're still going to be shorthanded. We also don't know who got banged up in the Ohio State game. I have no idea. I don't think you'll see Corum play. You probably won't see Mike Morris play. I think you'll still see Donovan Edwards play with that cast because I don't think he's going to keep hurting it. Like I think you just bandage it up and do the same thing.
He's playing.
But yeah, I also think the team's pretty focused from what they said. I'm sure they're still like enjoying the social media stuff that they see, but from all the things they've said, like JJ had his press conference, he said we're focused on winning it all. Like we're not here to just beat Ohio State. We're here to keep hitting our goals, and the Big Ten championship was one of their next goals that they had on their list. So I think they'll be focused. It helps that they've done it last year, so the logistics and all that aren't new to them. I think they win. I don't know if there's any matchups to watch. I know they have one of the best receivers in the Big Ten, Charlie Jones. You wouldn't think it, but he is. Statistically, he's like their offense. He's like their Cooper Kupp.
He's elite.
He's elite. He's a good football player.
He is.
Honestly, I'll probably be rooting for him if he scores. That's fine. Charlie Jones, fun name. Would you guys just like to let's predictions for this thing?
Yeah, ultimately Purdue doesn't have enough to win, but I think they'll keep it close for a quarter and a half, and then Michigan will probably run away with it. So I'll go Michigan 35, Purdue 17.
Ooh, that sounds really good. That's almost right on the over-under, too. It's a great prediction.
That feels right. That feels really right.
Evan?
I got Michigan 40, Purdue 28.
I'll go.
I scored. Over.
Hammer the over, baby. I'll go Michigan 40, Purdue 17. slight over lean. I think it'll be, like Alex said, probably be close at half. Every Michigan football game has been close at half, no matter who it is. That's just the nature of the beast. And then Jesse Minter goes in the locker room. He sits down. He has a Jimmy Neutron brain blast, and they come out and give up 3 points.
Dude, I believe that, dude. It seems like he's the only one that makes adjustments. And like every game that I watch, Michigan State and other teams are just like, yeah, good job, guys. Good half. All right, do the same thing in the second half.
Did you guys see that press conference of the South Carolina linebackers after the Tennessee game?
No.
Someone asked them after the game. They're like, "So, what adjustments did you guys make at halftime?" The guy looks like, "We didn't do shit." Just like we didn't do anything. And then they won.
Sometimes I wonder. Ball. Like I watch it. I don't know enough about the X's and O's of Michigan's defense in their ball to know what they're changing per se, but I imagine with how dominant the second halves have been, unless it's the strength and conditioning coach, if they're just able to go longer, faster. But I don't know. Like they're clamping teams in the second half. It's crazy. So I think that'll happen again. I have no reason not to believe it. Quickly, college football playoff. As we roll through here, I don't want you guys to miss too much of the Notre Dame game, so we can start going faster.
Still got a half hour, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Starts at 9:15.
Oh. Probably get pushed back with Michigan's. Well.
Oh. Is this tell me why these 4 teams aren't the 4 that should be in it no matter what happens this weekend?
I think they are the 4 that should be in it.
No matter what happens.
I think they should all.
All 4 teams
loses, I think USC's out.
Yeah, they'll have 2 losses.
I think TCU deserves to be in with 1 loss.
I think I'm with Alex. I think Georgia, Michigan, and TCU should be locked in. The committee should just come out and say, like, they are locked in. Their resume,
that guy
they
named
beat everybody on their schedule like they're supposed to. They're in their conference championship. They won their division. They had some close scares. But on all, they beat who they want on their schedule. Now, in reverse, you could argue, Grant. Well, no, you couldn't. USC they would have 2 losses.
Yeah.
And we just know the committee's going to put Alabama in or Ohio State in. I'd put Ohio State in over USC.
I would honestly say I was shocked that they kept Ohio State above Alabama.
Really?
Kind of sucks for Tennessee to get pushed behind Alabama.
But Alabama's lost twice. And they're just
at the buzzer.
Well, I think LSU screwed Alabama.
Has Alabama beat anybody like really good? Like,
they have 0 top 20
big
wins.
win.
It's like Ole Miss. Look at Ole Miss's wins.
Stat of the day.
Look at Ole Miss wins.
And that's Alabama. Without the name brand.
They beat Ole Miss.
Ole Miss's record, like their schedule is ass. Like Ole Miss is probably the most like fraud team this year.
It's just Alabama's like wins. Yeah, there's nothing that impressive, and their losses have gotten worse. So let's be
honest, though. If Alabama was in the playoff, you'd be scared to play them.
Absolutely not. I think Michigan would beat them by 10.
You would still be nervous to play them.
If we would watch Alabama walk into this playoff as a joke where they shouldn't be in it, and they would win the whole thing.
I don't think
everybody knows that is a scenario that can happen.
I wouldn't feel good about it if it was the first game and you give Saban 3 weeks, but if it was like a turnaround spot, I think.
Oh my God, you'd be so in the first game.
No, I think maybe
Nick Saban against Jimmy.
Dude, I really don't.
Unless Jesse's running the program now.
I'm all in the Wolverines this year. I think they actually have a chance to win a national championship, which is stunning to say from where we were.
Let's not get crazy. Georgia's still Georgia. They're probably better than last year.
No, they are not. They are not even close unless they really do something crazy in this playoff.
Haven't even had they had 1 scare in like week 5.
We beat Ohio State by more than they beat Kent State. I just don't understand.
That is not a comparison. The comparison is size.
I just made it.
Size. No, you're not. We're not doing the transitive property bullshit because Defiance College won a national championship in football on the transitive property.
Georgia didn't have like any scares last year. They had legit scares. They handled Tennessee.
They had one scare.
And Georgia really hasn't beaten anyone that good, in my opinion.
They beat Oregon by 1,000.
I don't think Oregon is that good.
They
I think
beat
Michigan
Tennessee
would blow their
by
doors off.
50, fully healthy Tennessee by 25.
I don't think Tennessee is that good. I think Tennessee
Not
doesn't play
because
deep.
Joe Milton's the quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, South Carolina killed them with Hendon Hooker in the game. They killed them.
but
Spencer Rattler
They
dropped
still
his
scored
dong.
40 points. Tennessee could score 40 points. They scored 10 against Georgia?
Because South Carolina doesn't have a defense. Tennessee
scored
scored
50
points
against everyone.
No, they scored 13 against an actual defense, and it was garbage time when they started scoring.
That's my point. Georgia's defense is that good because they scored a gajillion against every other team.
And
they
I'm
played.
telling you, I think Michigan's is that good. I think Ohio State's better than Tennessee.
Ooh. Well, yes. Currently, Joe Milton. Yes.
No, I think C.J. Stroud's better than Hendon Hooker.
Well, that's not saying what quarterback's better doesn't mean what team is better.
Look, you're just gonna have to accept that I think Michigan is a 1B team in the country.
I would be scared if, as a Michigan fan, if I was playing Alabama.
No.
And I would only be scared of if I was Michigan. There's 3 teams that I would not want to see in the playoff. 3 teams. First team, Georgia. Second team, Alabama. Third team, rematch with Ohio State would be a nightmare. You do not want that.
No, I want Ohio State again.
No, you don't.
I have a different third team. I only have 2 teams I would not like to play.
Sneaky good?
No, hell no. We'll beat them by 14. I don't want to play Caleb Williams. That kid's electric.
I wouldn't be afraid of USC at all. You would destroy them in the trenches. They don't have big guys in the middle.
Their offensive line is not very good. That's why Caleb Williams makes all these highlight plays because he's
running for his
the
life.
most athletic guy. But when you do it over and over again instead of
I'm telling you right now, Michigan would destroy USC.
Oh, I would be cheering for Caleb Williams when he. Well, it would be pretty cool to see Caleb Williams, Heisman Trophy winner, have to go against Michigan.
It would be a dream matchup for a fan. I would love to watch it. But I think Michigan would kill them.
Flex that game to the Rose Bowl. Tell them, hey, I know Fiesta Bowl.
I envisioned it in the Rose Bowl. It has to be in the Rose Bowl.
Instead, you get.
You should not be afraid of USC.
Instead, who do you get?
I'd be more afraid of TCU than USC as a Michigan fan.
What, dude?
Did you forget that TCU
We just
is
scored
a team.
45 points on the best defensive mind the Big 12 has ever seen, is what I was told. We just smoked them. What am I afraid of?
But he had his system and his guys for 4 or 5 years that knew.
They had Rodrigo. TCU is a team.
They had Rodrigo. That's the best thing. Rodrigo got Jim Knowles paid.
Actually, I forgot. Isn't TCU's coach in his second year?
Sonny Dykes' first year.
From SMU.
Yeah, he's not ready for this, dude. TCU, the Horn Frogs. I'd be horns down.
Listen, you would beat TCU. You'd beat USC. I wouldn't want to play Ohio State again just because of the. You just don't want to do that.
Let's bully them again. Break their will.
And you don't. And definitely don't want to play Bryce Young.
I would add USC to this list just because it's Lincoln Riley. He's been there and the plays that he can draw.
He has been in a lot of playoffs.
Just a complete mind.
USC's on the list, Evan. Alex is overlooking them.
You would kill them in the trenches.
I'm only looking at one lens, Grant, of just Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley. That's the only lens that would be you know what? They have a small chance.
Have a great offensive play caller and a really good quarterback. Alabama, Bryce Young.
Whoa, I don't think Michigan has a great play caller.
No. Michigan
Who calls
doesn't.
Georgia's plays?
The assistant, the Broyles Award winner.
Who's that?
Oh, he's
some offensive coordinator.
Old dude. Dude.
Wait,
Brown
last
hair.
year's Broyles Award winner was Josh Gass.
He's a Broyles Award.
He was
finalist.
A fraud.
Yeah, it's just your players are good and you win games.
Listen, dude. My point was USC, good quarterback, good offense. Alabama, good quarterback, offense. Ohio State, good offense, good quarterback.
I don't know. I also think Michigan's play callers had their best. I should have shouted. They had their best game of the year against Ohio State in their Super Bowl. That was had the tricks when they needed them.
Want to play
Dude,
Ohio
you
State
have to
again.
be scared against Nick Saban.
You'd be terrified.
You give him 3 weeks to prepare.
I would be expecting to win, but it would be 3
I
weeks
would be. They would be the only time that you could be able to beat
Do you remember last year, Grant? Alabama looked like absolute dog shit in the Iron Bowl. Bryce Young pulled the game out of his butt, and then Nick Saban just happened to coach up Alabama to murder Georgia in the SEC championship game.
But then played Georgia
when you
when
want to play them.
Then you played Georgia when it actually mattered, and Georgia actually cared, and they got beat.
J-Mo got injured.
Yeah,
they don't have J-Mo. They have cardboard cutouts running around out there.
True, no run game.
Those cardboard cutouts would all start on Michigan.
Yeah, but also our secondary is a bunch of dogs. So I think we'd clamp I think we clamped their guys.
You do not be careful. I hope this happens. I'm begging for an Alabama-Michigan game.
Two loss, Bama's not getting in. I think it's going to be the 4.
They already have players transferred from the
lose,
team.
Bama's in.
No way. It would be TCU, Ohio State. Ohio State's 5.
No, TCU and USC lose. That's what
They would bump TCU for Alabama in a second.
No,
whether it's right or not.
No, they would not.
Bump TCU for Ohio State, and guess what happened? Ohio State won the whole damn thing. It's gonna happen again.
That was different.
Some fringe team right now, 5 or 6, is gonna make the playoff and win.
Then the playoff is an absolute joke, and then we know it always has been. If that happens,
well, that's why we're going to 12.
You already told me.
Then you should forfeit. You forfeit your conference championship game.
It's money.
If Michigan plays Ohio State in a national championship game rematch and they win again, does Ryan Day get fired?
People would be calling for his job. There's no doubt.
I love the world.
Also, Ohio State fans that say they don't want to play in the playoff, shut your mouth. You're a liar. You want it.
Yeah, that's such a pompous thing to say.
Absolutely,
we don't deserve it. No, give them a chance, dude. I think they could give Georgia some problems, and then I think Georgia would just stomp them like Michigan did. But I think they give them problems.
Ohio State, I'm telling you, Ohio State and Alabama are better than TCU and USC, and they could both end up winning if they got in.
Dude, I don't know what you're thinking. I know Nick Saban is that. I don't think their team is that good, and they don't play that great. They just haven't done anything this year that impresses me at all.
They just happen to have like the best collection of talent, and if you could put it together for 60 minutes, Nick Saban's classic saying, he says, you can get up for 2 games a year and play your absolute best football twice a year. And he's going to get in the playoff, and he's going to play 2 games of the best football of the year, win the title. And it'd be devastating.
They're not getting in this playoff. I'm telling you that. They're not.
You better hope not.
Playoff.
You better hope not.
It'd be historic if they did. A 2-loss team has never made it.
This has been a weird year.
Not really. It's actually been dominant.
To have a 2-loss team is probably getting in because USC is going to lose.
With 3 undefeated teams going into the conference title game, you think a 2-loss team makes it in that year?
Because USC is
still
going to
3
lose.
Undefeated. When is 3 undefeated teams? I don't know if that's ever happened.
I keep forgetting Ohio State only has 1 loss.
Yeah, bad loss. Actually, a good loss to the 1B team. The 1B team in the country, actually, but it's at home, so it's a little embarrassing. Okay, Michigan State football.
Breaking news on Michigan State football, devastating for Grant.
Kendall Brooks declaring
for the NFL going
draft.
to the NFL.
What?
Yep.
He's a senior. He technically has 1 COVID year left.
I thought he was a sophomore.
No, he's a D3 transfer.
Oh, well, then he's not as good as I thought. I thought he was like a sophomore bursting on the scene.
He's a senior transfer bursting on the scene
never
from
told
Division
me that.
3.
Penn State 35.
Devastating.
Michigan State 16. Evan, your mental health after it happened where Tom Allen and James Franklin.
Grant, you were there. You saw Evan.
It's disgusting. Didn't even want to watch this.
I don't remember much of this game, to be honest, guys. I started hitting the bottle.
Whoa.
You forced me to watch it. Mistakes after mistakes, terrible play calling, miscues on defense, special teams.
Missing bodies.
Lack of coaching and discipline. I mean, it's rinse and repeat. Same thing, just different week.
I don't think this is a fair assessment before Evan continues on a much more negative path. I thought Michigan State showed a great promise and fight to get back into this game.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that, but you have to look at what it is, Alex.
Yeah, we're the least talented team and we suck. And
look at what it is.
Your
play calling led you to a downhill spiral, just get down to 14-0.
We're blaming this on Jay Johnson again.
You came back, and then your play calling again led you down to a downhill spiral to lose by 19.
It all circles back to Jay Johnson.
It's just not fair because the play of the game was a 4th down when the defense and Mel Tucker should have called a timeout and he didn't.
Correct. I will never excuse him for that.
More Mel Clark man.
Defensive miscues.
Daniel Barker catches passes and Jay Johnson looks like a wizard. Daniel Barker drops passes. He's not a wizard. He calls a good plays that sometimes players need to execute, Evan.
I understand that too. You got to be able to get your athletes the ball more and more frequently and a different way than the same way that you were trying to do it last year and a different way than you were trying to do it in like week 2 and week 3.
Fine. Jaden Reed also can't just check out in the final game of the season and just run with the ball like it doesn't matter.
Oh, he fumbled, didn't he?
Twice.
Fumbled punt.
He fumbled twice.
Lost one of them.
Lost one. Fumbled twice.
And he
fumbled on back-to-back punt returns because he's running with the ball like just willy-nilly.
You guys did the more passing than rushing thing again, but it looks like you couldn't run the ball very well.
No, Penn State's D-line's pretty solid against teams that are inferior.
Not 1B. They ran for 4 bills on them. I really don't remember a ton of this game. It looks like
cheering heavily for Michigan State.
I know. I was rooting for the boys, dude. I want to see my friends win as well. Sean Clifford looked like he had an okay game. That kind of sucks.
He made plenty of drastic, terrible mistakes. He sucks. He's a horrible quarterback.
He can't come back, can he? Or is he done?
He was seen on the sidelines, so this really wasn't. It's crazy that Penn State covered.
G. Johnson's such a shit coordinator.
But Sean Clifford on the sideline looked at his running backs and receivers and said, "We have to score here to get the over.
We have to cover.
We have to cover."
Investigate
it's like live caught. No, it's like guaranteed. That's what he said.
That's awesome.
And then they scored
the
to cover.
should investigate him. Is he gambling?
So,
the
game was closer than the score.
Question in the room here is: do you guys want to make a bowl game with your discussed Evan that Evan has?
We aren't though. It's out. That's guaranteed.
But do you want to? If you could have,
no. Well, yeah.
No, you're like Ohio State fans.
The problem is no, because the bowl game we'd get into is played on like December 14th. So the whole point of like having a bowl game is extra practice and all that. I don't really care to see them in the Lending Tree, Alabama, Birmingham Bowl. Against,
God, Electric Factory.
I think they would play someone just like horrendous.
Like who?
Like Alabama State, UAB, or someone like really awful.
Trent Dilfer would be so
and the whole point would be like extra weeks of practice. At that point, you'd only have 2 weeks of practice. Half our team's injured. We can't even tackle at practice. We're never going to let Caden Hauser play, so what's the point? I don't need to watch Peyton Thorne light it up in a Lending Tree, Alabama Bowl.
It's so absurd you guys keep overpassing Noah Kim.
Grant, just shut it. Noah Kim was never the guy. He's not even a Tucker recruit.
Should you guys take an off season, or we go right into practice for the next season?
If we were allowed to go right into practice, I think we would, but you're not allowed to do that.
My other question, is there anything you guys saw down the stretch run to encourage you, or has it all been bad since that Illinois game? Or is there anything you're holding on to? It's like, yeah, that can get me through till next season to convince myself it's a new year, a better year.
Well, I think people forget that after our first 2 wins of the season, then we went on that stretch of just getting blown out every week.
Mm-hmm.
We've made a tremendous amount of progress since that point. Every game's been close-ish, pretty close for the most part, competitive. Won some games, won a ranked game on the road, beat an okay Wisconsin team, competed with Michigan for a bit, competed with Penn State. So it got better. It's just not the results you want. So it's going to get me through because we didn't look like, if we just got blown out like we did against Washington every single week, every single game,
yeah,
I'd be calling for Mel's job. But that didn't happen.
Evan, anything you're encouraged by?
Improvements, how negative the season was, like Alex's point, you're not that far off. You really aren't. I mean, you get rid of the offensive coordinator, step one, and then you build
special
around
teams first, then offensive coordinator.
Ross Ellis should have already been fired. I would have left him in Happy Valley. And then you just keep on building practice and young guys in, young guys out, and you guys still build your scheme here, defensively and offensively. So you're not that far off. Obviously,
this isn't year 7. This is still just year 3.
I'm not saying we are still super far off and competing for championships. I'm saying you're not super far off for like having another year like last year, where you have like a solid run, magical run. Okay, you lose a game you shouldn't. You win a game that you shouldn't. Like stuff like that. Like 10-2, 11-1. You're not that far off from that. But for going undefeated in the season, winning the Big Ten, going to playoff, you're still years and years and talent away from that.
Just really interested to see what this offseason holds in terms of turnover.
I want change. And change is needed if you want to progress. And I believe Mel understands that because he worked in the NFL and he worked under Georgia. The previous coach didn't do that, and that was his downfall. So he needs to know, like, hey, change is needed.
Do you think there's a decent chunk of his brain, though, that sees it in the lens they won 11 games and then had a down year? So, like, the third year is the testing year?
I don't think he has that, like, personal relationship with these assistant coaches, like Mark did.
You got to remember, he got these assistant coaches late because of how late he got the job. So it's not like he had full pickings to go after a bunch of coaches. These are kind of just guys he got stuck with. So I don't think he has some, like Evan said, some huge...
I really wish I ran like a college program, and I want to know how I would handle other people sucking at their job.
I think he might want to have someone set before firing someone as well. Like if he fires them and then misses and then we end up with someone shittier, that would suck.
These firings would probably happen in the next couple of weeks, right? Like he's not going to wait around because you got to get in the pool when the changes are happening. So I feel like before
the conference championship games, it's going to be chaos probably.
Yeah, like head coaches are coming out. Then after the head coaches, it's all the assistant coaches.
We already have a transfer target we're going after.
Norfolk State tight end.
No, the Oregon receiver was top 50 in the country.
The 6'5" kid.
Took a recruiting picture with Dante Moore and said Dante to Dante.
Wow. So
Jay Johnson keeps his job if he gets Dante Moore. That's just the hard reality.
I can tell you what, Jay Johnson ain't the primary recruiter for Dante Moore.
Yeah, I wonder what Jay Johnson
Dante Moore has said.
Here's an easy fix.
He really likes Jay.
Here's a super easy fix for offense. Dante, who would you like to run the offense? Dante names that person. You go hire that guy, whoever it is. Don't care. Do not care.
MLK Jr.'s head coach.
Problem solved.
No, we can't hire him, Grant.
Why not?
That'd be a terrible idea.
Problem solved.
Why? We hired Bellamy, and the West Bloomfield pipeline is right.
Not to be offensive coordinator.
I don't know.
We haven't even heard of Bellamy. He probably does nothing. He's just Detroit recruiter guy.
Coaches the wide receivers who, until the Ohio State game, hadn't been looking hot this year. But then they came on, baby.
He's the Detroit recruiter guy.
He told Cornelius that you snap
off that
It's a fake
position.
I don't know why that made me think of this. We don't call individual guys, but the guy number 12 on Ohio State, Ransom, had a very, very bad game in the game. So
the safeties were ass.
Really bad angles in every single play. And now it's hard to tackle Donovan Edwards. He's a 5-star recruit. Like he's a dog. People forget. Evan. He's a grown man. Also, I couldn't really hear sometimes when you're at a big watch party.
I'm a grown man.
Gus Johnson dropping the Don twice on his touchdown runs is an all-time call, and at least for a Michigan fan. That was sweet that he called him that. Okay, so we'll do more, I think, decompressing on our college football teams when Michigan seasons end, so we can talk about off-season, what we want to see.
Well, we should do that next week.
Why?
Because there's going to be 3 weeks in between that and the playoff.
Yeah, but it's going to be... All right, we can do it.
We can playoff build up.
We can do it for Michigan State.
Michigan State decompress.
Alex, we got to talk about the Pistons at some point.
I love the offseason. No, we don't. They're awful.
We have to at some point. We have to check in on them and the Red Wings.
You can ramp up the... I couldn't find anything, but I just saw one tweet. Here's your daily update. Mo Sider got injured today, and I haven't found anything if he's actually out for long term.
Someone figure it out, beat reporters.
Still a playoff team as now. Michigan State hockey should be talked about on this podcast.
Michigan State hockey is a wagon in the month of November. 7-1.
They just had the best November they've had since the national championship season.
Whenever you guys want to talk about them instead of your basketball and football teams, we can swap them
our basketball team's good, dude. Shut your mouth.
Saying we don't have all day to talk about all of them. We have the Lions to talk about.
We do have all day.
You guys play in a few minutes. We have the Lions next. Bills 28.
Oh my
Lions,
God, we haven't talked about them yet.
25. I only have a few things to say about this. This is my stance. I was lost in the moment. I was like, both things could be true, which is a lazy phrase to say, but the Lions are addicted to throwing deep on 3rd and 1s and 4th and 1s. They love taking the shot if they think they have it. Okay,
they did have it.
Which is a little aggressive, but as Alex just said, they had it. So when I lay my pillow on the head at night and I think about the future of this franchise, it still comes down to having a quarterback that will stand there and drop that ball in Derek Baby Shark's breadbasket, and we have the lead. Do we win the game still? No, because maybe Josh Allen's on the other side. It just gives you the lead. You don't win. Thankfully, Badgley made the kick. And this is another thing too, is like I think our fan base just has to accept as we talk about quarterbacks. You can get mad at your defense all you want for giving that up. Some quarterbacks are just aliens, and Josh Allen is one of them. And that throw that he made to get them in field goal range to win the game is an alien throw. And
0.1 seconds late.
Kirby Joseph was right there. I mean, I'm not mad at our defense for giving that up. That is Josh Allen. That you just have to know that when it's big boy football in the NFL. People are making throws. It's not the CJ Strouds of the world. They're putting it on an absolute dime when it matters. I mean, yes, you can. I think most people's frustration with the game is about like, oh, we don't have a quarterback like that. We're mad at other things. When like, tip your cap to the Bills, dude. They're a really good football team. We played up to their level, just didn't finish it. They're a Super Bowl contender. We're not.
Well, that's the Jared slander. He still had a pretty solid game. It's not fair.
Do you think I'm slandering him?
No, I think Cody with the C, Mitten Money, 517 crew group chat was giving a lot of Jared Goff slander, and they lost the games on other reasons as well.
You do have to make that throw, though.
Yes. And it looked like miscommunication. He thought
he
back
has
shoulder.
To hit the guy in the middle of the field that's even more wide open than Chark.
That too, Evan. Any
Jamal
guy's
Williams
wide open.
needs to hold on to the football. 2 fumbles now.
Yeah, we're not a Super Bowl contending team.
DeAndre Swift looks scared when he runs the ball.
I think this hurts because it was Thanksgiving.
It sucks because it was there. It was for the taking.
You had the Bills beat. It was there. All you had to do, little clock management, little situationals here and there, nitpick. Dan Campbell fumbles again on game management towards the end.
That doesn't seem fair. I thought he handled it well.
No.
Once they gave him the timeout back, I felt better about it. But
they added more time. It's 3rd and 1. All you need is a field goal to win, Alex.
To tie, right?
To tie.
We got
a 51-yarder to tie.
It was a bad situation for your kicker to be in, but we made it.
Yeah,
now,
so get the first
he runs
down.
the ball on 3rd and 1. You can run it down to 2 seconds, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but
I'm not going to be mad.
Now you're in control, though.
Then we lose in overtime.
You're still not
in
control.
Or you miss a field goal and lose. Or you go to overtime and lose. Like, you're never in control in that situation.
You have Josh Allen.
You're the Lions. You're an underdog. You're playing the Bills. What's wrong? I love the approach of trying to just win it when you have a chance.
Just bullshit.
It was there.
Yeah, we don't deserve these losses. That's overall bullshit. I think it's just we have to be like, we're the Lions still.
We're just not as good as it seems we're getting. We're not there yet.
We don't have a guy.
But it's 3rd and 1, and earlier in the drive on 4th and 1, you ran the ball instead of throwing it. So why change?
Because he had it. He had the dagger in their
Oh, but
neck.
Evan, if Jared Goff actually makes a good throw and we hit that, we're like, oh my god,
he hasn't actually made a good throw
awesome.
ever since he put on the Lions uniform. He hasn't won us a game.
Just completely.
Now that is a fair argument. That's what I talked with.
He has 0 game-winning drives for the Lions. 0.
Well, that's what I talk about with. Is that true?
It's hard when you only have a total of 6 wins to have a game-winning drive.
That's what I talked with.
We're just dominating in our wins.
That's what I talked with listener Brad about. He texted me and we were talking about what we would have done. And I was like, well, the call was there. I was like, yeah, but Jared Goff, it's a little extreme. He said Jared Goff has never made that throw in his entire life, which is a little extreme.
Yeah, that's not true. I've seen him make unbelievable throws on a Monday Night Football game.
Situational, though.
I do see the point. Like, you have to coach to your personnel, which I think is Evan's biggest point. You know your personnel. You have to coach to your personnel. Maybe that was a little in over your head with a guy, Chark, who hasn't played in 4 weeks, basically, and Jared Goff, who hasn't made a throw like that all year. So, like, I don't...
But was open.
But if we hit it, we're like, oh, my God, our coaching staff is awesome. I love their nuts.
Yeah, so I love the nuts. I love... You know you're not a playoff team. No, Evan, if you know that you're not good enough to win anything this year and you have a chance to beat the second best team in the league...
Then take us out of the hunt picture. Take us out.
No, we're in it.
Rip us our name out right now.
You can't.
Rip our name out.
Listener Brad told me that we're winning out at Mox.
Jesus H. He's drunk.
We're not winning out.
Well, what game was it? Monday night, they put us in the hunt.
We are, yeah.
We're still in it, Evan.
We're 2.5 games out, I believe, based on my math.
But it's not going to happen because... it's not. You're not making the playoffs. It's over. It's over. You're not.
Well, if you go undefeated, you're making the playoffs.
No, you're not.
You can lose one more game.
No, because the Giants and Washington play each other, so there has to be a winner that gets ahead of everybody else.
Guess what? We beat both of them. Tiebreaker. Yes.
So you have to get to their record, and there's 2 games in front of you. There are 2 games in front of you?
Easily.
2 games in front of you.
Do you know how many games are left?
2 games in front of you.
6.
6 games. So it'd be
win 5 more games, you win 9 games. You're making the playoffs with 9 wins.
No.
10-7, right? No, there was only 5 games for us left.
So you're telling me
I'm saying you can lose 1 more.
So you're telling me they only win 2 games the rest of the way. Both of those teams.
What teams?
Probably. They stink.
To tie with the Giants and to tie with Washington, they only win 2 more games the rest of the year.
What is Washington at win-wise right now?
1-7-5 and 1-7-6.
Washington still has a bye week, so they only have 5 games left. They could easily go 2-3.
Yes.
Easily. They play the Eagles, and they beat them somehow the first time, so there's no way they win again.
No.
They play
Washington
the Cowboys.
Lost to the Eagles.
No, they won on Monday Night Football.
Oh, they did.
All right.
The Cowboys, Eagles, then they play the Giants.
Now, if you're not making the playoffs, it's over. You blew your chance. Godspeed. See you in Valhalla. Have fun with the 15th pick.
I'm telling you right now,
they go 5-1. They make the playoffs.
They're not going 5-1. You're telling me Dan Campbell gets the same amount of wins now as he has his entire career under the Lions?
Why not us? Evan, he did win 2 road games in a row when he never won any.
He hasn't been right with any of his takes in his entire life.
The only one he did call, he said Michigan would beat Ohio State last year when no one said it.
And he said it this year too.
Well, this year's a little different, but he did say it.
All right. Lions, Jags.
Right. Now, look, I do think both you guys made great points there. What we have to focus on is one game at a time. We have Lions plus 1.5
the Jags
at home.
Are favorites.
Yeah, by 1.5.
Because Trevor Lawrence is playing great football.
Over under 51.5. I'm just going to say it. This is must-win alert game. You have to win this game if you're the Lions. Why? Because this is your measuring stick of the teams that are on the come up. They picked one. They took a bad player, not a bad player, but not good of players.
Pick 6 in the first game of the season.
Not as good as Aiden Hutchinson, the guy that has 3 takeaways, 3 sacks, the only time in NFL history, basically. So we have that
just get
going
on
for
with
us.
Prediction.
We have to measure ourselves. Same record, I believe. We're both on the come up. You have to win the game. And the prediction
tip now. Oh my God.
Plenty of time. Is that the Lions defend the den, restore the roar.
They go 10-7 now. You're high on drugs.
I said 5.
Still stuck out in the playoffs.
9. They're going 9.
We win 23. No, we score more than that with the Lions. We went 28-25. Lions.
34-31 Lions.
What a game of the week.
22-20.
I need fantasy
Jaguars.
points in this game. Bad.
Evan, pessimistic Evan.
Evan picks against the Lions every week. It's nothing new.
Every single week.
This is 7 weeks in a row Evan's picked against the Lions.
Is Jeff Okudah back?
Where's our pardon the interruption stat guy? No, Jeff's in a non-contact jersey at practice. He's in phase 3 of concussion protocol by my estimate.
How many phases are there?
3.
Did you kiss him too?
So he's going to be back.
Tuck him in at night?
Clearing phase 3 is always the most difficult.
Oh, he was limited. He's going to play.
He's in a non-contact jersey, Grant. He's just running around.
We had someone doing that last week, and they played.
Yes, he'll probably play.
Do we have JMO?
No, JMO not going to play. But he practiced in full.
I don't
so stupid,
get it, dude.
He's like fully healthy, practicing in full. And
what if we do it like we activate him but don't play him, then we just put him on IR the rest of the year as like a tease? We just mess with the whole fan base.
Yeah, they're not going to do that.
I think if we do that, JMO's going to ask out of Detroit. His tweets are so cryptic. I can't keep up with this kid. I think he's not happy.
He looks like he has a great time at practice.
I think so, but he just tweets so cryptically that I
would have a great time at practice too if I knew I was the most athletic person out there. Like, I'm faster than everybody.
Right now, Evan, you forget. Jameson comes back. This is definitely a 5-1 team.
What does this mean? November 28th, JMO. I see through all that poop emoji. What does that mean?
I see through all the shit, man.
I know. What shit? Dan Campbell's bullshit?
Comes from something different.
He's talking about Alabama. And then Hugh Freeze getting hired.
And then later that night, he said, "You can't stop me," with a bunch of batteries and a plug-in emoji.
Yeah,
like he's fully charged. He's ready to go.
He's ready to let it rip. No, yeah,
dude. And we're holding him back, saying you can't stop me,
dude. You're
Dan Campbell has locked him in a cage and says you can't practice yet.
You're over-analyzing text messages like a chick in a relationship with a guy.
It's
you're disgusting.
Guy. And then on October 16th, he said, "Be playing on my name. That shit dead."
What
does that mean,
dude? Look at any NFL players' tweets. They're all strange.
Not all of them.
Okay, well, just go root for your Vikings.
Skull. College hoops. MSU went 2-1 in the PK tourney. Had a bit of an injury situation that developed late over Thanksgiving. The only thing I have is basically an intervention for Alex. Evan, not to throw Evan under the bus. Well, I should have just said someone told me, but now I just threw Evan under the bus. I saw a text. I saw a text that you sent 2 people, Alex, over the PK80 tournament that I think changes the course of this podcast history.
I sent a text about AJ Hogarth sucking.
You call him the F word. Nope. And you put
Even
a certified.
A fraud. Yeah.
A certified fraud.
Yeah, because he's been acting like a giant. I'm not going to hide from it. He has the ability to be good, and he's acting like a loser who doesn't want to try, and I will not support that. So until he can get his shit together, he is not the solution right now.
What is he? He's the problem.
He is. He is a problem.
But not like in a good way.
Cancer.
Like, he's not like a problem for the other team.
You're going there on the team.
The cancer.
But like his body language is dog shit. His effort is dog shit.
Always has been.
Thank you, Grant.
End of last season, he really showed something.
Yeah, because he was scoring against Purdue. If he wasn't scoring against Purdue, he would have seen them.
He played pretty well, and after I sent that text, he played really well against Alabama. Second half, he had like 18 points. Played well against Portland. Played well against Oregon. He has ability. Just needs to figure it out.
How are we feeling about the squad, boys? Evan, how are we feeling after the PK situation? How are we? Goals stay intact on a scale of 1 to 100. We're at a 90 Big Ten title.
Yeah, I think so. Going into it, I said he'd go 2-1 that weekend because it's hard to play 3 games in 4 days
with 8 scholarship players.
Yeah.
Shout out Whitens.
I was shocked by
work.
Shocked by the Malik Hall news, but that did come out. But late Wednesday night.
The bar night.
Thanksgiving, yeah.
I saw it. I almost texted you guys. I was like, they're asleep.
You texted me in the stand.
Yeah.
Hunting, and I was like, what? What are you talking about? Michigan State really let that one hide.
Brendan Quinn bomb drop.
Get through December, you know? Don't lose games. Don't lose games that you're not supposed to.
After tonight.
Like tonight, you should win this, hypothetically.
First road game of the year.
Most consistent team in Indiana.
The Portland game was a true road game. We played in their arena, just without their
that was kind of BS, but
them boys could shoot.
Yeah. 5 white kids walk out and just start banging threes. It's like, oh my God.
I mean, college basketball injuries happen, but I really like the team because they're veterans. You don't have a couple egos on a team. You have poor play out of some players, but you don't have like a superstar that everyone's throwing the ball to, like, hey, you go do something.
We do not have an Amani Bates.
You don't have like somebody to blame. You don't have somebody to blame every single time.
Really?
I think they have 1 win. They're like 1 in 9.
So super happy about this team. They're like the definition of what a Tom Izzo-led team should be. Just a bunch of
grit.
Wee guys.
Grit.
Disciplined athletes with a grit.
This is a Dan Campbell-led Michigan State basketball.
Dan Campbell's overrated.
With a guy that knows how to call plays.
Would you say he's properly rated? Did anyone think
I'd say he's
a genius?
fairly rated. No one thinks he's a smart guy.
Alex, that's a little extreme.
That came out wrong.
We knew he wasn't a guru.
A mastermind.
He's a motivator. A leader of men. All right, well, yeah, I think it was good to go 2-1 from my outside perspective with the injury news, so I don't see why anything has changed.
8 guys. And Pierre Brooks has never seen a shot he doesn't like. Ever.
I could have told you that. I watched that state championship game.
He's got an unlimited clip.
Shot from the Spartan head when he was playing whatever.
Let's talk about Michigan's huge win last night against Virginia.
Yeah.
Because that's what I thought it was when I went to bed.
Yeah, a lot of people just have never seen college basketball and watch one half and think, it's a win. That's just not how basketball works.
I didn't actually think that, Grant. I just wanted to jinx it.
Playing a really good discipline. I think I saw some stat that the continuity and play together stat, like on KenPom, Virginia's the 8th in the country. Out of 350 teams, Michigan's 280th. And it showed. Down the stretch, you saw a team in Virginia that just knows how to play together. You see Michigan.
Robin just came back and tied it up 4-4 after being down 4-1.
Mo Sider is playing on one leg. It's the same thing I said as last week, that this team is just Jet and Dickinson.
Teams on TNT, Alex.
It was good to see them. It was good to see Jet play that good against the number 3 team in the country. I guess I knew Dickinson can play well.
9:35 now. Oh my God.
It's just a lack of guard play, I would say, that really is concerning. Like I said last week, and people were putting together nice tweets about, you think about the peak of Michigan basketball under Beeline, Trey Burke, even though he wasn't as much of a scorer, Xavier Simpson at least could lead a basketball team. Like, he knew how to orchestrate an offense. Even Abdul Rahman, Eli Brooks wasn't a point guard, but he was a senior guard who knew how to control things when it mattered. They're just missing that.
You're missing Foster Lawyer.
Jalen Lululemon just hasn't been as like in control as you'd like. I think he's probably Jalen Lululemon. Lululemon is what we call him now in the fan base.
Your fan base is weird, man.
Jalen Lululemon.
That sounds stupid.
Michigan State lost tonight. It's over.
Why?
Ted Valentine's doing the game.
I thought about to say Bo Borowski. Just Bo Borowski, Undertaker gif.
Bo Borowski before Bo Borowski was a thing.
Ted Valentine sometimes likes to call in our favor.
No, he likes to favor the home team. He likes to make it about him.
Yes, as he should.
Sorry,
the lack of no, you're good. The lack of guard play. I don't know what to do. I think like Doug is your point guard recruit. Maybe you give him more run and trust he'll grow with growing pains, but it's when you're like, wow, I kind of wish we had sophomore Frankie Collins bought into the system and actually play.
No, you don't want that guy. No. We just talked about me, guys. He shot 26 times in a game this year.
Yeah, but if he had like
dude needs to shoot.
I guess I wish they would have gotten him to bought into like, you're not going to be the guy, but you're going to be a part of like a winning team.
Well, that's difficult when you recruit bigger names.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the balance they're going to have
basketball.
The balance they're going to have to strike. I still think they got a good staff there, so maybe it's giving Kobe Buffkin some reps at point guard because he's looked the part. He looks in control when he plays basketball. Or it's just like you have to grind through these rough stretches and build for the tournament. But the hard part right now is after last year's bubble life, I don't know how confident I am in this team to be at or above 500 in Big Ten play, where it's like you kind of need to pick off a Virginia, a North Carolina, a Kentucky in your non-conference after you already lost to Arizona State.
You need a bubble win, a resume builder. And
that's what last night was. So there is no moral victory of like, oh, we showed we can play down to the wire with the number 3 team in the country. Like, it doesn't feel good because like, we're going to need that win when the committee looks at us later in the year based on how I think the season's projecting. If they just hit some stride in Big Ten play where they go on a streak, it won't matter. I just can't predict it right now based on what I've seen. There's still a ton of talent on the basketball team. The one encouraging thing I guess you can't take away is they played really aggressive defense and a lot of blocks and more tenacity than I've seen. So at least they were able to do that for one big game. We'll see if they can do it consistently when they go to like Northwestern in February. That's when you're going to have to dig deep.
Yeah. Fun fact, Juwan Howard now has more home November losses in his 4 seasons than Tom Izzo does in his career.
Wow.
Tom Izzo has 0 home November losses ever.
That's a chop to the coach and also the arena itself. Not a hard place to play.
Got a bunch of old geezers just sitting down.
There was a bunch of Michigan State fans that just went to that game because it was $12.
Yeah, I saw the ticket prices were crazy cheap to see number 3.
lower bowl to
now,
go to that
guys,
game.
It is Virginia. Wait, it is Virginia like watching paint dry.
No, that's visual. That's like Coastal Carolina offense. You want to watch the Virginia defense, Grant.
Top 5 team
and
your
defense,
lower bowl
baby.
is $12.
You get better every single time you watch it.
The peak of the Chrysler Center was Trey Burke, all yellows versus Ohio State, all reds. Like that era of basketball when they were like top 5 team in the country the whole year. That they peaked, and now I don't know. It sucks because the Maze Rage has been doing a petition to make the whole lower bowl a student section for like the last year and a half, and nothing's changed. So until they change
kids
that,
in the Maze Rage also just are not big basketball people.
Now that may be true, but they do jump and they do yell the whole game. There's none of them because
that place kind of just sucks in general.
It's not even like
I've seen the roof leaking in that arena.
Well, that happened at Hinkle. Let's not use that as the judge.
We've seen like every inch of that arena.
Never seen the Breslin Center leak.
Oh, we're losing to Notre Dame. We're just as bad as Michigan.
Will we have the same record if you guys lose tonight?
No.
We'll have
we already have
loss.
the same record.
What are you guys? Right, 5-2.
5-2.
A little different 5-2s. I guess.
Way different. Not even.
But at the end of the day, if you just look at it on paper,
no one looks at it like that. Anyways,
Michigan fans do.
Yeah.
Well,
there was a listener question.
Worry about football.
That's all I really do care about. But I will watch the basketball team because I love sports. Evan, thoughts on the Red Wings alt jerseys?
Nay, I don't mind them, but
Awful.
nay, I don't like the black. Get the black out of the jersey. Like the Detroit colors are red and white.
You love black though.
Go look up Detroit's jersey right now.
Listen, Evan, I don't like it. Oh wow, Butler, big win today, Grant.
By 12, we are back.
Go look at that, and then go look at the Blackhawks jerseys for this year too.
Evan, I don't like these uniforms. So
I would love them if they were just like the white instead of the black lettering and the black stripes. If they were white,
I already liked the Red Wings classic uniforms, throwback uniforms they've worn in the past.
those
Just
were
the white and the
winter
red stripe.
classic uniforms, and we don't get to play it anymore because it's just basically the Metropolitan.
Guys,
Okay.
to close out the show, I'm going to read you a stat line.
Of
9 of 11 from the field, 22 points, 10
Manny Bates.
rebounds, 3 blocks. The best
Gotta be
center
Manny Bates.
in the country.
Just
Manny
behind
Bates.
Marty Sissoko. Manny
Better.
Bates.
No.
Grant. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
You'd rather have Marty on your team.
In the country, it goes Dickinson.
Manny
Bates.
shut the
Yeah. See ya.
Bye, fans. See you later. Hope
It
we
was
had a
fun.
great.
Cheers to episode 99.
Dickinson is like Bryce Young, where he just has to do everything for his team. He has to pass.
The podcast is over. Michigan State's playing basketball, and you brought up someone no one wants to talk about. So please do your closeout.
Cheers to episode 99. Follows at Shot of MS everywhere you can find podcasts. This is the watered down part of my Coke. This is disgusting. But cheers to 99.
That looks like drug test Pete.
Will we do anything crazy for episode 100? I don't know. TBD. It's a lot of planning. I'm not sure we'll pull it off, but
I'm gonna say no.
if anyone has any ideas, let us
Absolute
know.
anybody and everyone can join the Zoom.
We're
Zoom
just gonna have
party.
like 60 people on. Yeah, we
Yes.
should do that. That's it. That's the idea.
If Grant's a host, he can mute everybody.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can mute people.
Really?
We should just send a bunch
yeah.
of people the link, not tell them anything, and then see if they join, and then just see what happens
A chaos factory.
for like 5 minutes, and then enough.
Yeah,
No,
not
it'd
like
be
the whole
5
show.
minutes. You have to do it for like 15.
Yeah. and then-
It'd be like a Twitter sphere, like talk circle. Raise
A
your hand if
Twitter
you want to
space.
talk.
All right, yeah, 12-minute timer max. And
It'll
then
be the
Grant
three of
boots
us
them all.
talking, and then we'll say things about other people's like favorite teams in the chat that triggers them, and then make them raise their hand.
and then hope we get like a big argument, and then that'd be great television.
Yeah. All right.